And I feel like it is this energy of like finding either as a reference point from the past or experiencing for the first time a place and an energy in your life where you were indulged and where you were given lots of room and grace. Do you know what I mean? When nobody was harsh with you and like your mischievousness or your playfulness was just like welcome and warmed. This is the energy of the Six of Cups here. It's really interesting because even this particular picture of the grandma, and I love that she's a black grandma here, my nan would like put me on her shoulders and pretend to be a horse. It was just the sweetest game that she used to play with me. When I think about it, she indulged in me so much. And I loved like being on her shoulders and her pretending to be a horsey. And it's that kind of energy of like finding a place for you that is so warm in the context of the Four of Pentacles here, where I feel like a lot of you are about to enter a season or a phase in life where you're gonna try to work, to focus, to stabilize. And this is my grandma used to play Stars in Their Eyes with me and my brother. I love that. And you said my granddad used to love Werther's Originals. Yep, he'd always share them with me. These beautiful memories. So the Four of Pentacles, it's interesting because I felt the strain in my heart space immediately as I was looking at this card, and there's this idea that as we start approaching the end of the year, you might get reflective, you might have goals and dreams for next year, you might have financial, responsibilities that you're thinking about as the holidays approach, but there is this like seriousness I feel creeping through in which you're gonna attempt to take on a lot of responsibility and be really serious and be really stable. And I am telling you, I feel it, like my heart is strained. Is a strong warning from spirit to not do that. And it doesn't mean don't, I always say this, it's never an extreme of therefore don't work or don't take care of your responsibilities, but it is a don't ramp up the material energy, don't do it at this particular time. Because the esoteric card that we pulled is the Five of Cups here. And you need this six, you need the progression of this six energy to deal with the grief, the sorrow, the sadness, the loss, the change, and the transition that this year, and not even just this year, but this period, this epoch has been. There is grief. I just saw your message. I was going to quit my job. there is grief. There is adjustment. And there's also deep cognitive dissonance and dissociation from many of us as a means of trying to deal with or cope with the experiences that we've been having. And there's just so much still to be processed that we've not accounted for. And that if we swing our energy, so really it's like matching the external energy of like everything's back to normal and the pandemic's not really happening and we can basically get our lives back on track. There's a caution against adopting that, because really what we've been through has been like a tower energy. It's been a shaking and a crumbling of certain systems, and we don't want to snap back to capitalism, and we don't want to snap back to exhaustion, and we don't want to snap back to trauma, and we don't want to snap back to the way things were, and ultimately they are not as they were. So there is almost what I'm feeling is like it's like an infection. It's like reinfecting our external experiences where something has changed and we're attempting to get back to something. The harm, the illness, the trauma, the abuse, the self-denial, the emotional avoidance, the fear, the scarcity, all that stuff, we don't want to then spread that energy back into the new energy that's available. So spirit is like, do not at this time start going hard and hitting the ground, and you will want to because you will see other people doing it. Just reading your comments. Ooh, what did I miss? All right. So we have the Devil card, and this is, let's try and bring it a bit closer. What does it say at the top? Dissolve the empire undertaking. Yes, that's why I love this deck. Come through the revolutionary politics, Earth and Capricorn and Saturn. This is what we're dealing with, you know? This is the energy. Sorry that it's not focusing that well. But this is the energy that we are dealing with here. And I think I love this message. Thank you, Spirit. I think the tendency that we have had has been to fight the system or fight the power or resist in ways that have to do with strength and willpower. And it's really interesting because I was napping today. When I woke up, I went on Twitter. One of the first messages I saw was someone saying, like, Black women rest, take time out. And I was like, I just woke up from a nap. I definitely will internalize this. Let me find the box for you. Next World Tarot, it's called. I definitely will internalize this message. And then after that, I was watching Queen Sugar while I was having my dinner. I won't do spoilers. Well, maybe this is a little bit of a spoiler, sorry. But spoiler alert. There's a scene where a certain character is about to take a nap as a Black woman, and the police burst into her house. And I was like, yeah, man, like that. Where's the space? You know, like she was attempting to be in a safety and ease, and you know, the system that she is dealing with is trying to exhaust her. And I mean, I think that's a running theme in Queen Sugar, the lack of respite for the Black community, all the ways in which white supremacy is terrorizing their lives. And so the Devil card here is speaking to that old order, that whereas before we may have been, I don't know, like maybe it could have been through politics or whatever it was that we were attempting to create change through. The message here is that the change that we are needing right now is actually the Three of Cups, joy. It's joy. And it reminds me of the scripture, the joy of the Lord is my strength. And then we actually do have the 8 card here, which in Major Arcana would be the Strength card. Joy and strength, okay? And it's like there is, you know, it's not frivolous and it's not light to be joyful. There is a power, there is a fire, there is an endurance that comes from having a full cup. I think it's why I pray that we would not feel so much like we hate it here and we don't want to be here and we need to escape, but that we would have experiences that makes cultivating life here for worthwhile. That we would not be trying to escape our physical bodies, but that we would experience the joy of embodiment no matter what kinds of bodies we're living in. So this is Mercury and Cancer. I love it. This person looks so self-satisfied in this card. But the message for you, okay, you've got the 3 of Cups, you've got the 6 of Cups. There is a need to satisfy yourself, to pleasure yourself. And it really does reflect some of the messages that I've been getting. Because you all know that I'm in like deep rest at the moment. And it's why, you know, I think the timing was right. And I told you that I'm not actually really following the planetary transits that closely at the moment. I'm really in experiential energy. But the timing of when Spirit asks me to take a step back and rest some more in conjunction with, you know, the Mercury retrograde, as a very mercurial person myself. And then like a message about rest and pleasure and me even coming back to the happiest place in the world for me. There is this idea that the strength that we need, the recovery that we need, and the dismantling of certain systems comes through self-satisfying. And so we have this Page of Swords here, which is about cutting through the fence, cutting through experiences that have been warded off, blocked off from us, either physically, emotionally, culturally, generationally, whatever it is, whatever has been blocked off to us. This is the energy that allows us to literally cut through these blockages and move into a new direction and a new path. I want to pull a bit more because I do feel like, if you're anything like me, I do want to use the Rider-Waite deck. If you're anything like me, I get why joy or being happy or satisfaction can seem revolutionary in one hand and like insufficient in another. Yeah. I love that. I feel like my spirit team are they know me in it. I'm a Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Mars. They understand me. And I'm always going to look at things with a very practical lens. I'm going to look at the details. And the details are the Devil and the Three of Swords. Like, it isn't Six of Cups again at the bottom, though. Just reiterating the same message. It is not... it's not a frivolous message. It is not a denial of the reality. It's not a denial of the conditions that we are living in that are ripping and tearing and depressing us and traumatizing us. It is not a denial of that. But also this idea of like, think about like in gaming, you'll have like different levels, and like you'll collect like icons or gifts or skills along the way before you get to the final boss of that level, the Devil card here. And I feel like some of us in our broken, battered position are trying to defeat the system, and that system doesn't even have to just be a big external one. That can be the system of your own life. Okay, that could be your employer, that could be your parent, that could be someone you're in a relationship with, that could be your financial system situation at the banks, whatever it is. You know, it could even be your mental health. Like, you're trying to like defeat a boss or some form of like something that's overpowering you in your life, but you're not considering the conditions in which you're showing up to that fight. And you haven't cleared the level of the game, right? And the clearing of the level of the game is the Six of Cups. Let's ask a little bit more about that joyful energy then. Yeah, it's like walking away. The Eight of Cups is like walking away from the things that are sad and heavy and mournful. And with the Two of Swords, in some ways there is some level of refusing to see or engage that is healthy. So like lately, I have not wanted to be online. I have not wanted to read the timeline. I just feel like everything I engage with, I'm like, this series of Earth is wild. Like, whoever is writing the script for this planet, this series is so wild, and everything I read makes me feel like, why? Cut it off, turn the lights off, basically. Remove the power from this universe. And so there is a need actually to stop, right? Cut the cameras. So there's actually a need to stop watching that then. And it's not about denial as in like going into delusion, but it's looking away long enough to create something different. Okay. Tell me more about cutting through the fence. I love it because the fence even says, do not enter. Why are you refusing to like, I might have it on not auto focus. It's just not clear enough, I feel, but that does say do not enter. Tell me about cutting through the boundaries and the defenses. Yeah, the Magician card. By other means. Or using all things at our disposal. Yeah, the Fool card. A different approach. A different approach, folks. Okay, I think I've laboured that point. Let's go to the King of Swords. The King of Swords actually has, what do you call it, like a drill hair. It's giving Bob the Builder. And this is about what we're building, what we're constructing, what we're desiring, the future we imagine for ourselves and each other. And it's here with the Six of Swords, you know. Some of us are packed. It's really interesting because I had quite a traumatizing dream last night, but it was about being forced out, and it was about me packing my things and leaving in like really awful, very traumatic conditions, but still going. And also on that journey, there were certain people who were showing up to help me. There was even an uncle who came and like held my hand and walked me down the road. They were like, I was not alone. It was painful, it was hard, but I was not alone in going down that path. And I do think that that Six of Swords is called passion, maybe we need passion, passage. Mercury and Aquarius, there is like energy of bags packed. And I do think the bags packed energy is a little bit over it. King of Swords again with the Page of Swords. The bags packed energy is about being over it. There is this kind of sense of like, I'm over it, is the energy I feel from the community, from the collective, with regards to where we are at in our lives right now. And so, yeah, there's a childlike energy, because the King of Swords is like, we've had it twice, this perspective, trying to move towards the fruition of our dreams, or get towards this adult life, or this different kind of living. But there is an idea that actually the secret is in the childlike energy. And so I clarified the Page of Swords, you know, the young person, the novice, and we get the Chariot, and the Six of Cups is back. So going back, literally there's children in the Six of Cups. It is going back to a childlike perspective. And it's also maybe experiencing the world again through the childlike lens. Let me just ask a bit more. Hanged Man, yeah, it's a different perspective. We're not leaving, we're still enduring certain conditions, but the Hanged Man is about changing perspective, enlightenment, seeing things from a different vantage point. We need to look through the eyes of a child. It's really interesting, because when we started, I was playing Jordan Reiki. I don't even know if that's how he actually pronounces his surname. Sorry if I'm butchering it, but the song "What We Call Life," I was listening to the album on my flight. I just feel like there's a reason I played that, and I want to read the lyrics. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to read the lyrics, and just before I do that, I shall show you... Oh, I can't find the Zoom chat. Where is it? Here we go. I shall show you the Two of Pentacles and the Seven of Earth. There is a way to create change, right? But it is slow cultivation. Let me read the lyrics to you, because I feel like it's significant. Do you dream of strangers, or just darkness in an empty room while your brothers play without you? Are you suffering? Just lie there for a minute. Can the elders spoiled serenity? They're not friends, this time you're enemies. Are you suffering? Is this what we call life? Is this anything I asked for? What we call life, I need to question why. Early hours come creeping, no apology, just warm embrace. Maybe now it's time to state your case, that you're suffering. When they're acting so different, they're cementing the worst part of you. Always push aside and try to please, now you're suffering. Is this what we call life? Is this anything I asked for? What we call life, I need to question why. It's such a beautiful song. It's so beautiful. But I do feel that the lyrics actually reflect the energy of this reading, which is, you know, I said that the Page of Swords, the King of Swords is kind of like, oh, this energy here is about being over it. Do you know what I mean? Like bags packed, like I'm just over life. And this question of like what I'm experiencing in the world that I'm living in, is this anything I asked for? Like, what is this? Do you know what I mean? That was my regular question. Like, what is this? Are you suffering? You know, and I feel like our response to the question, are we suffering, is absolutely yes. And our action from that seems to be the King of Swords, which is, you know, striving to logically move towards some other place or destination or reality, or do something differently, or take a holiday or whatever else, some practical solution. But there again, there's a childlike energy here. The connection between the two messages is the King of Pentacles. I love it in this deck. Love it. Beautiful. Wish the camera would focus on it better, but here it is. And it is the Throne of Security. And again, path, journey. The idea here in this King of Pentacles is that it's a path that is cultivated, but it is processed. And I think that's the issue, that with the King of Swords energy, we're still projecting some place or reality or future that we're trying to get to where we'll be happy. I love that. Thank you for the confirmation. I'm seeing my spiritual numbers there. I feel like I was saying this to myself when I arrived in Cape Town, you know, because I have a certain amount of time that I'm going to be here. And I said to myself, like, I don't want to be striving to get to a certain point. I want to be able to experience, like, the process and the moment of the thing. And there are things that I want in my life and things that I want to experience that are down the road, let's say. They are a future experience that I don't want to live holding my breath until that eventuality. And yet sometimes the present moment is uncomfortable and unhappy and not what we're asking for. So it's really hard to not live for the future when the present is bleak. So yeah, I don't even need to, I was going to reshuffle and I will, but I'll show you the two cards that really match that. This is the Three of Wands, or Three of Fire. This is the journey, the process, right? This is the passionate energy as well. But we also have the Eight of Air here with like a hand stabs, and we do get this dual energy in our readings. Okay, one hand is bleeding, and the energy of this Eight of Air is, hold on, I don't know why I keep throwing the cards on the floor. Holding two truths. Okay, a beautiful truth that's unfolding in the present. And it's actually, I didn't notice that before. There's even a chain on this person's hand. A beautiful truth that's unfolding and a painful one that we have to live with. And, you know, our last collective reading was this idea about moving between the barren place and the fruitful places in our lives and having to kind of pull from both energies. But this Two of Pentacles, duality, this shuffling in and out of heartache and of joy. This is the reality. This is the nature of life that we're living right now. And so I'm just going to pull a little bit more about what it means. How when we are in a reality where, like, you know, there's pain, the hand is being stabbed, there's a truth, there's a painful truth, there's a sharp truth to reality. How do we sit in that and be present and enjoy it? I love this because, you know, I'm really thinking about the prayer that I did. I'm really thinking about what I prayed over this reading and how this reading is unfolding. All right. Okay, so you know, last message was, how do I live, laugh, love under these conditions, right? Which we saw someone tweeted and I thought was so dope and funny. The question continues. This is really like a follow-on. How can we be present? How can I be present under the worst conditions? What? Present? Okay, some cards just flew out. Present and embodied. Worst conditions. Don't want to be here. Don't want to be feeling these things or doing these things or going through these things. You are funny, Spirit. I'm going to just clarify. We've got the Ace of Swords, the Queen of Cups, and Temperance. You all are a bit quiet in the chat. Are you okay? Yes, 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 yes. This is painful, man. Okay, so here's how it goes, my beloveds. The Tower of the Ace of Swords. Tell no lies, right? It's peak. Tell no lies. It is wild out there. It is destabilizing. It is difficult. Our politicians are liars. They are corrupt. They are stealing from us. And you know what I will say from watching, both I've been keeping up with South African news and then watching some of the events playing out, unfolding in the UK, and just noticing like how desperate people are becoming and how, to me as an observer, it feels like violent crime and chancing is on the rise in the UK. You know, like they just there's a shift that feels like we're going into Peaky Blinders. Like that's the, and I say we, I'm not with you. I am in South Africa, but I'm with you in my heart, right? And I feel like the UK is looking like Peaky Blinders to me. So the message is like, tell the truth. Like I said, that the disengagement is not delusion. Do you know what I mean? Do not lie about the conditions of the world, but there is something very slow about time and slow about change. And I said this, especially to UK folk, I said that it would be a 7-year period of wild shit in that country. And we're on year 2. So yes, it's a slow process, and it has a lot to do also with the planetary transits and like how different energies become available that support different kinds of experiences and changes. It just is the way time moves in this level on Earth. And so, yes, there's a slowness here in the Knight of Pentacles, but it is here with the Queen of Cups. Now, Knight of Pentacles for me is Taurus, Queen of Cups for me is Cancer. And I feel like this is a beautiful combination of energy. I love a Taurus and Cancer vibe. I love a Taurus and Cancer mix, okay? And I feel like with this Taurus energy, there is a need to slowly cultivate the joy, the safety, and the sweetness within. This is Queen of Cups, not King. Okay, so it's not external energy, it's internal. That actually, this is nuts. And so the safety is not in the external systems. The safety is within. I don't want to gaslight you all, so I have to, you know me, like, if the world is dangerous, there's no point me telling you the safety is within. So, what do you mean? The Lovers and the King of Wands. The path is the path. It's like, if we look too closely at this, we forget that there is a galaxy and multiple galaxies and multiverses. Like, we forget the vastness of existence and experience. And that's what the reminder is, right? Like, yes, your countries, your local environments, like, they're wild and they're scattered and disorganized and harmful, but you are